when the courts become politicized, all that matters to them is whether you're on their political side or not. It doesn't matter to the courts if you're right, rational, or behaving legally in what you say and do. All that matters is whether you're on their team. Well, what I'm dealing with is a society that has pretended to be offended. I'll give you an example of how it operates so that you can see what the legal system has become, because it's not authentically a legal system anymore. The society that is pretending to be offended has found against me. That's obvious from the fact that they got away with torturing me, making me deaf, dragging me through glass and making a laugh of it, gassing me, using me as a slave in Ringo Starr's interrogation system, framing me as traitor to John Lennon for not liking drugs. There's a lot of gobbledygook involved, but to understand the actual situation, because it is real and it is very serious. Look at, for example, Thomas Cartier sat in the outfield of a school. He was larger and bigger than me. He had sadistic, violent proclivities, and he was giving me the finger like this. TC was giving me the finger. He was giving me the finger. And I hadn't been, I was a little boy in third grade. I hadn't been confronted with something like that. So finally, I gave it back to him. He came in and gave slaughtering head blows, felled me to the ground. Now, the courts would find in his favor automatically. They would say, you gave him the finger. He had the right to beat your brains in. And they would say it's not relevant that he was giving you the finger and that he was making a monster of himself, giving you the finger. That's what the courts would say, the so-called courts. Let's talk about the gobbledygook of the British attorney for Donald Trump, Amanda Harcourt. She wrote to me in 1984, just to give you an idea of how long this has been going on. It must be the season of truculent machines. And she said, do you ever see it's a fine turn of phrase that makes you want to go cross-eyed? Treason of succulent machines, get it? So she's playing sort of Animal House caustic wit with the idea, the taunting, the dare that was presented by the AIDS attack that had me stationed in a medical library. And it was sort of meant to be sort of a chide, but sarcastic. And you could be read either way. She was working with Zappa. It didn't have any tangible meaning. But she was obviously in touch with the Supreme Court already. So this gives you an idea of how long it's been going on. Now, they had made up their minds that the victims of torture were going to be crucified, and that was the end of it. And what brought this on is that they have a Maine Democrat who voted in favor of, well, there were two votes that came down to one person. So this is a matter of the importance of the individual. One was to allow a sensitive and necessary ecosystem to be despoiled by a foreign business partner of the corpulent tycoon who managed to get installed in a regime change in Washington, D.C., someone tuned Donald Trump, and allowance for continuance of the, I guess there were 3 votes, continuance of the arming of the genocidal, Nazified, non-democratic regime of Israel, and the continuation of the aggression against Iran. So what makes this significant, that it boils down to one person, is that their logic boils down to the idea that there's one person who could have saved John Lennon, right? I'm the only person who matches that description. I'm the instrument um, of disunity that needs to be overcome psychologically. So they're standing there giving me the finger. And what bothers them about me is that I'm a symbol of the United States of America that was attacked as a symbol of the United States of America. My name is old, it's a pilgrim name. My father opposed the Vietnam War, but he had decorations from his naval service in the war against Japan. And my family served in the Revolution, the 1812 French and Indian mustard gas in World War I. But it doesn't matter that I was kidnapped, tortured, and gassed by the Israelis in an attack against the United States of America. That doesn't matter to any of them, because I put the First Amendment first. I'll show you an example of how this worked. I said I wouldn't want my flag. I would just get rid of a flag that Patrick Buchanan kissed because of the way that he was humiliating the gays sadistically who had AIDS. He said, all the poor queers, they wage war on nature. Nature takes an awful retribution. But Donald Trump had a gizmo of saying, no, Crary is the real traitor, not Patrick Buchanan. And he got the gays to side with Patrick Buchanan, making this strange burlesque argument. So he humiliates the flag by actually going up and smooching it. Horrible, you know. It's pretty horrible. So they kissy. And it's like the way the blacks get involved is say, we will make you kissy the stump, put a sock in your mouth, poison you for talking down the Fuhrer, who unites the American people, the dictator who unites the American people. And what it amounts to is very similar to the argument that was given to a concentration camp guard in Nazi Germany to stop shooting Jews because the bullet was worth more than the Jew. And this was like a mystical concept to him. The mystical concept. The bullet is worth more than the Jew. Now, you might think it's just playing semantics, but the reason why the Department of Defense is called the Department of Defense is a chicanery. We use it for aggressive warfare, and we shouldn't be doing that, but we claim that, like Tommy Cartier was defending himself by beating my brains in after I gave him the finger. And that's the Department of Defense. Well, it's actually a Department of War. So you change it to the Department of War, but you don't use it aggressively. The Department of War, it's not meant to be doublespeak. If someone actually does attack us like we did on Pearl Harbor, we put a stop to their aggression. And this is very hard for people to understand. It's like that concentration camp guard. You know, the Supreme Court starts drooling. All of them do. Every last one of them start drooling. The bullet is worth more than the Jew. And they can barely comprehend it. So when I call the people who were um, selling us to the or assassins, traitors, I'm just giving the finger back to them. Mayor the Hardcore was calling me a traitor back in 1984 for not knowing what they were doing. I was a traitor for not knowing that she was giving me the finger. She was giving me the finger and giving me the finger and giving me the finger, and I finally gave the finger back to them. Now I'm just waiting for them to TC me.